All right, so now that we got those updates out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the main topic for today. So, again, today's topic is titled Protecting the Public, Educating Communities on Backflow Prevention and Cross Connection Control. So, I want to start off by showing these two photos. Um, on the left, we have a fire hydrant, and on the right, a backflow preventer. If we were to ask the public to identify these two objects, chances are that the majority would identify the fire hydrant first, right? I remember when I first started working at the USC Foundation, I had no clue what backflow preventers were, what backflow prevention was, what cross connection was. I had no clue about it. So we all know that fire hydrants are associated with firefighting, and we've known this since we were little kids. Hydrants are a source of water used for emergencies to put out fires, right? So essentially, they're used for public safety. Well, what about backflow preventers? If I walk outside of my house right now, I could easily identify a few backflow preventers as well as fire hydrants on the sidewalk. But a lot of people don't know that backflow preventers help protect our drinking water from contamination and that they require testing and maintenance to ensure they're operating properly. And just like a fire hydrant, a backflow preventer is necessary for public safety, specifically public health. In 2002, the USC Foundation worked alongside the American Water Works Association Research Foundation, also known as AWRF, on a report titled "Impacts of Cross Connections in North American Water Supplies." We surveyed over 700 water utilities, asking a variety of questions about their cross connection control programs. Some of the questions were about public education as it related to backflow prevention, and the average ranking of effectiveness for backflow education was 6.3. This report showed that education or educating the public wasn't a top priority for a lot of these water utilities. Additionally, in early 2025, Water Watts Technologies published The Public Drinking Water Threat No One is Talking About. In this report, they surveyed 1,000 single family homeowners on their knowledge of backflow preventers. The results, the report showed that 2 out of 3 homeowners never heard of backflow preventers. But once they were educated, more than 70% understood the importance and the need for them. Additionally, 4 out of 5 felt that public water systems didn't do enough to educate them on backflow prevention. So we'll provide a link uh, in the chat for this survey so you guys can have a look and read that information. It's very, very useful. So today our goal is to discuss different ways we could reach the public to educate them about backflow prevention and cross connection control and how it impacts public health. I should mention that some state regulations require education as part of their water utilities cross connection control program. So, for example, some of you guys might be familiar with the California Cross Connection Control Policy Handbook, and it states the following: a public water system must implement a public outreach and education program that includes educating staff, customers, and the community about backflow protection and cross connection control. So, since our goal is to educate the public, we're going to look at different aspects of public relations and tools to help us along the way. So, you might be asking, what is public relations? Well, according to Public Relations Society of America, public relations is a strategic communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between organizations and their publics. When we say publics, we're talking about different categories of groups. So, who are these different types of publics? There's the media, the government, community groups, the general public, and internal groups. So the media consists of, traditional media like newspapers, local and national news outlets, journalists, etc. Digital media such as social media, websites, blogs, and podcasts are also part of media. And then government could include federal, state, city council, local jurisdictions such as public health departments. And in general, it's really any group that has some sort of authority. Community groups could be professional associations, educational groups, conferences, trade shows, and local businesses. And the general public is, well, the broader population, right? And internal groups are um, folks like employees, coworkers, managers, supervisors, and board of directors or advisors. So, what sort of tools could we use to educate these publics? Some of these tools include education, speeches, audio visuals, social media graphics, and literature. So, educating the public is important because we're trying to help them understand the importance of protecting the drinking water supply, right? And so, one of the better ways to help communicate the importance of backflow prevention and cross connection control is by sharing backflow incidents. It's important to remember that when we're sharing backflow incidents, it should be done for the purpose of educating the person you're communicating with and to not use it as a scare tactic. Okay. So you might share one of the earliest incidents on record that occurred at the 1933 World's Fair in Chicago, where a poorly designed plumbing system in two Chicago hotels caused backflow that allowed deadly dysentery germs to travel from bathtubs and toilets into the drinking water lines. It was later discovered that this was caused by a cross connection between sewage and drinking water pipes. Unfortunately, over 1,400 people were sick with amoebic dysentery, and 98 people died from this incident. Well, you might be thinking, well, that was back in 1933, right? Things like this just don't happen nowadays. Well, here's the most recent backflow incident that occurred in Corpus Christi, Texas. Okay, this was back in December 2016. And what happened in this incident? Well, industrial chemicals backflowed into the drinking water lines. And so I'm going to share a video so we can get some more insights and more information on this incident.